Welcome to Bhutan, a Buddhist kingdom of less than 1 million people nestled in the midst of the Himalayas. It's an isolated country. For years, large numbers of foreigners and outside influences have been kept out. But some aspects of Western culture are now slowly creeping in. Fewer people on the streets are wearing traditional Bhutanese clothing, and it seems just about everyone has a cell phone. It's a season of change here. A new young king officially ascended to the throne in November 2008. He's following initial steps taken by his father to transition the nation to democracy. Also in 2008, the nation's first parliamentary elections were held, and a new constitution was adopted. While it guarantees freedom of religion in practice, the attitude of the government and people here is, if you are Bhutanese, you are Buddhist. But there's a small underground Christian community in Bhutan. This church, high up in the Himalayas, is attended mostly by immigrant Nepalese. Some of its members walk for several hours just to attend Sunday morning service here. But a growing number of Bhutanese are starting to follow Christ. Because they're scattered throughout the country, meeting in house churches, no one knows for certain how many ethnically Bhutanese Christians there are here in this Buddhist nation. Now, some of them talked to us, but few wanted to share their stories on camera. One church leader agreed to share with us only if we protected his identity. We'll refer to him as Pastor George. He says the Bhutanese church started growing in the early 1970s.
The growth has been quite small, but nonetheless is still growing. It's almost pioneering in some sort of ways, like the churches were probably at the day of Pentecost. There's no proper theologically trained pastors or those in leadership as well. It's all led by lay people. It's all in homes, in home settings. Groups are very small, loosely knit.
They meet in homes because construction of non-Buddhist religious buildings is restricted by the government. The import of Christian materials is not allowed, and Christian missionaries are prohibited from entering the country. The government denies Christians the right to share their faith in public.
I think you can be fined, and at the worst, you can go to jail as well.
The nation's newspapers are now recognizing that a Christian community exists in Bhutan. Often Christians are depicted negatively. This government newspaper, the Kunsel, talks about Bhutanese joining Christianity for economic reasons, so they don't have to spend money for various rituals. It told of a 76-year-old who was beaten for refusing to convert to Christianity. It also reported that Christian groups in one village were causing unease. Recently, the Bhutan Times denounced what it called vague evangelist websites that claim persecution of Christians in Bhutan. It said the government is not in the persecution business. Tell that to this Christian. He wouldn't appear on video, so we made an audio recording of his testimony. He said back in the year 2000, an angry government official threatened to kill him if he did not renounce Christianity and return to Buddhism.
He said, otherwise, who knows, especially out of the country. And he said, for the sake of country, I will kill you also. I think government will not object about this. Because to kill you is to save the people from going to Christian.
But he stood firm in his faith.
I said that I will not give up. I will not give up because he is the only God I find as a true God. Then I knew that, no, Jesus saves me.
Nearly a decade later, government officials are making fewer threats against Christians.
I think there's a notion that it should get better with the introduction of new constitution. But that says very little in terms of, in actual practice, you can be falsely sometimes charged by those opposed to Christianity. You can be made to suffer for it.
Still, they press on, mostly in private. These pastors recently attended a training seminar. Christian leaders here say more sound biblical teaching and leadership training is needed. They also ask that Christians around the world pray for them.
Pray the church will be prepared to meet all the challenges. In as much as we have the assurance of love and praise from the West. But it's ultimately the Christians here that will have to stand on their own under the Lord's banner.
And he promises he will never leave them nor forsake them. Gary Lane, CBN News, Thimphu, Bhutan.